Hi, my name is Carmen Everson, and I'm looking for my sister. I was born in 1968, March of, and I was the second of what I thought was 4 children. I have 3 brothers, and at some point in the early 70s, my mother moved me and my 3 brothers to Wisconsin. And a few years after that, I think it was 1972, I was put into foster care. I remained in foster care until I was 11, so about 6 years, and I was adopted by my foster family. I always knew who my mom was. I always knew where she lived. I spent summers with her parents, my grandparents, who I loved very much. And eventually I was adopted by my foster parents, and I lived with them. In about 1983, my foster mother passed away. She had been sick for about 2-3 years of cancer. She always made sure that I knew who my mom was, and I was able to spend time with my mom. Eventually, I grew up, I moved out of the house, and I was on my own. And at 18, my natural mother called me and she needed help. I went to Madison where she lived, and her second husband, not my father, her second husband, was dying of cancer. And by the time I got there, he had already passed away, but I helped her plan his funeral, and I stayed with her for about a week, just helping her to adjust to being single and all the things, the bills and everything else. I felt it was an opportunity to grow closer to my mom, which was really important to me at that time. And then what ended up happening was the night before the funeral, my mother was very upset and depressed, and she told me that I had a sister. I didn't really know what to make of it, because over the years she had told me things that weren't necessarily true. She had misled me on things, and I had always allowed her to continue to do that. I just took everything she said not as absolute fact. So when she told me this, I asked her, is my sister older than my oldest brother, or is she just older than me? And my mother wouldn't give me that answer. She wouldn't give me the young lady's birth date. She wouldn't tell me who the father was, just that I had a sister, and she wanted me to know that. Well, as time went on, my mother and I, our relationship disintegrated. She did not come to my wedding. She did not meet my children. That door is always open to her, but I'm not sure if she'll ever take that. But years later, I had my children, and I married, and my husband and I had a young lady staying with us, and we were talking about adoption. And the young lady, I explained to her that about this sister, and she insisted that I do something about it, that I look into it, that I find out whether or not this was a true story. So I contacted a private investigator, and I was told, indeed, I did have an older sister, and she was born before my brother. She was 10 months older than him, and basically the trail was cold after the birth record. So what ended up happening was I've searched sites, I've looked on adoption network sites, I've looked, I'm looking for my sister, I'm looking for my brother, those kind of websites, and everything has turned out to be hopeful, but not the right person. My main objective in this is to find my sister, of course, to bring her into my family if she so chooses. But there's a secondary hope. I want her to know that she's cared about. I don't know if she's made contact with my mother. I don't know if she's made contact with my brothers. But I do want her to know that she has a sister, she has nieces, she has family that cares about her, and that she is cared about. And I want her to know that. it's so easy to feel like you're all alone and that nobody cares about you and you're not important to anyone. Even if I never meet her, if she is too, if this is too much for her, I completely respect that. But I want her to know that she's important, that there is a family out there that cares about what happens to her, and that she has a sister that has wanted to meet her and get to know her for a very long time. Thank you. And that's my story.